There are moments when a room becomes a mirror, forcing a man to face his own reflection whether he is ready or not. Moments when authority collides with truth, and the collision shakes everyone watching. Before we dive in, let us know in the comments where you are watching from. We would love to see how far this conversation is reaching. Picture a cold Tuesday morning in Providence, the kind that makes your breath hang like a warning in the air. Inside municipal court, a quiet tension rests over the benches. Pens click. Shoes shuffle. A few murmurs slip into the stillness. Judge Frank Caprio lifts his docket and pauses when his eyes land on a name. He does not know the storm that is about to walk through his doors, but something in his gut tightens anyway. The double doors swing open with a slow, heavy creak. A man walks in as if the room belongs to him. Dress blues pressed to perfection. Chest crowded with medals that glitter beneath the courtroom lights. Shoulders tense with pride and something sharper. Chief Robert Bobby Sullivan. 48 years old. 30 years in uniform. A lifetime spent telling others where to stand and how to behave. Behind him walks his union attorney, Michael Donovan, carrying a bulging file that looks less like a case brief and more like a shield made of paper and precedent. Sullivan does not look left or right. He does not acknowledge the defendants waiting for their turns or the clerks moving quietly behind the rows. Even the bailiff, who nods out of habit, receives nothing. Sullivan glides forward like a man who believes rules exist for other people. The bailiff calls out, voice echoing sharply. Case number 2025, CR 8847, State of Rhode Island versus Chief Robert Sullivan. Charges include abuse of office, intimidation of witnesses, and obstruction of justice. A ripple of whispers moves through the courtroom. Judge Caprio looks up. Chief Sullivan, please step forward. Sullivan's boots click with military precision until he stands exactly 3 feet from the bench. He stops as if he has measured the distance. Back straight. Eyes fixed ahead. Good morning, Chief Sullivan, the judge says calmly. Do you understand the charges brought against you? Sullivan answers with a clipped tone, stiff as iron. Your Honor, these charges reflect a fundamental misunderstanding of proper police procedure and chain of command authority. The judge opens a folder. Let us discuss the incident involving Officer Maria Santos on October 15th. Explain what happened. Sullivan's jaw locks. Officer Santos ignored a direct order during an active investigation. She received appropriate discipline according to department protocol. The judge repeats the phrase slowly. Department protocol. He lifts a different report. Are you aware that Officer Santos was reviewing allegations of evidence tampering when you ordered her to stop? Sullivan's expression does not flicker. She was investigating a closed matter without authorization. The judge taps the thick folder in front of him. According to Internal Affairs, Officer Santos discovered evidence from 3 major drug cases had been altered or destroyed. Is that correct? That is an ongoing internal issue, Sullivan replies. Not suitable for civilian oversight. The judge's eyes sharpen. Something cold settles in them. This court received a complaint from Officer Santos, stating that you threatened her badge and her pension if she refused to abandon the investigation. Sullivan finally breaks his forward stare. Maintaining discipline sometimes requires firm leadership, Your Honor. The judge reads from the statement. You will find yourself directing traffic in the worst neighborhood in the city if you do not learn to mind your own business. Did you say that? A slight shrug. I gave her guidance regarding loyalty to the department. The judge flips another document. And what happened when she filed a formal complaint? She submitted a frivolous report that wasted departmental resources. Sullivan replies sharply. The judge lifts another folder. Lieutenant Morrison, the Internal Affairs investigator, claims you ordered him to close his review prematurely. What do you say to that? Sullivan's face hardens. He exceeded his authority and compromised active operations. And when he refused to close the case? The judge asks. Sullivan hesitates. Just a flicker. I reminded him of the importance of following orders. The judge reads aloud. Your pension depends on knowing when an investigation is over. Did you tell him that? I provided direction on departmental priorities, Your Honor. The judge sets down the papers slowly. Let us discuss Detective Rachel Kim. Sullivan's attorney rises to object. The judge silences him with 2 words, sit down. The judge continues, Detective Kim reports that you summoned her after she uncovered additional evidence inconsistencies. What occurred in that meeting? Sullivan's tone turns defensive. She was reminded of her limited role. The judge reads again. You may keep quiet or find yourself back in uniform working overnight shifts. Is this accurate? Noise drains from the room as if someone has cut a wire. Sullivan cannot contain himself. His voice bursts out, sharp and loud. These officers do not understand what it takes to run a department. They question every decision. They undermine me. The judge leans forward. Chief Sullivan, are you admitting that you threatened their careers? It was necessary, Sullivan snaps. I was protecting the department from a witch hunt that would destroy morale. The judge's next words strike like stone. You took an oath to protect and serve. Who were you protecting when you silenced officers investigating corruption? Sullivan's temper erupts. They work for me. I decide the priorities. The judge repeats it softly. Dangerously, they work for you. Sullivan's voice rises to a shout. Yes, they answer to me. That is how a chain of command works. Then tell me, the judge says, what happened when Officer Santos continued her investigation? She forced my hand, Sullivan growls. I suspended her. The judge lifts another file. 3 days after she submitted evidence to the Attorney General. Would you call that a coincidence? That is when Sullivan explodes fully. His voice shakes the benches. She went over my head. She had no right to involve the state. No right to jeopardize the department over a few missing evidence tags. I have given this city my entire life. I have earned the right to run my department without interference from rookie officers and bleeding heart judges. Gasps ripple through the room. Someone drops a pen. The bailiff steps closer. You refer to this court as bleeding heart judges? The judge asks. You sit in comfort making judgments about things you do not understand. Sullivan spits. You have never had seconds to decide whether someone lives or dies. Chief Sullivan, the judge warns. Choose your next words carefully. But the dam is cracked. I am finished being lectured. Sullivan roars. You have never worn a badge. You do not know what it takes to keep a city safe. This courthouse survives because my officers maintain order. He points at the judge with a trembling, furious hand. You work because I do my job. I own this place. Chaos erupts. People stand. Some shout. The bailiff lunges forward. The judge rises slowly, color draining from his face. His voice turns deadly quiet. Chief Sullivan, did you just say that you own this court? I am stating a fact, Sullivan barks. The judge lifts his hand. Bailiff, arrest him for contempt. Handcuffs click shut around Sullivan's wrists. He keeps shouting as he is forced into a chair. You cannot handle the truth, he screams. This city runs because of me. When the noise fades, the judge speaks. For the charges of abuse of office, intimidation of witnesses, and obstruction of justice, this court finds you guilty on all counts. You are sentenced to 3 years in state prison with forfeiture of all pension benefits. Sullivan's face drains of color. You cannot do this. My family depends on that. For your contempt today, the judge continues, I am adding 1 additional year. Sullivan shakes. 4 years for doing my job. The judge answers softly but firmly. Your job was to uphold the law. You used your authority as a weapon. Sullivan pleads. His voice cracks. I made mistakes. I was trying to protect the department. The judge shakes his head. You threatened the very people who were trying to protect the public. Sullivan covers his face with trembling hands. What about my family? They will have to adapt, the judge says, just as Officer Santos did when you suspended her. Something in Sullivan collapses then. His voice becomes small. I know I was wrong. The judge asks him gently, why did Officer Santos report the corruption? Because it was her duty to the law, Sullivan whispers. Not to me. And what should you have done? I should have investigated her findings. I should have stood with her. The judge ends the hearing with a single sentence. The law owns all of us. 3 years later, inside the correctional facility, Sullivan sits across from Detective Santos. She has come with news. The evidence you tried to hide led to convictions, she says. 8 major cases. All clean. Sullivan lowers his gaze. I am glad. I should have supported you. They sit quietly for a moment. She asks him what he will do after release. He tells her he does not know. No one will hire a disgraced former officer. She tells him about a program that helps at-risk youth learn conflict resolution. They need someone who understands how power can go wrong, she says. Someone who has lived it. Sullivan looks stunned. You would recommend me? I would recommend the man you are becoming, she replies. Not the man who tried to silence me.